Welcome to episode 54 of the David and Hillary Show.
5-4.
5-4?
Yeah. Year 2, episode 2.
2-2.
2-2.
2-2.
5-4, 2-2. Today's episode is going to be more of the same, only different. We're going to have a few more pictures from Icepocalypse taken with my better camera. I hope you enjoy those. And we're going to talk some more about AI and not just AI, but some of the negative things that are associated with AI. But it's all new stuff. So I hope you enjoy it. And we're excited. Are you ready?
I am. Let's do this.
Well, yeah. Episode 54 or whatever we're going to call it.
2-2.
2-2. Icepocalypse 2026. I mean, it really was crazy. We talked a lot about it last time, and most of the effects of it are cleared up now, except there are still people in the greater Nashville area that don't have their power back on, which is unbelievable. And there's some people pretty upset about that, wondering if it's being done as quickly and efficiently as it should. We're not really that kind of show, or at least we're not going to
But we are today, so let's get into it. No, just kidding.
We're not going to get into it, but especially since we're not prepared to get into it. But we hope that people who don't have their power back get it back. It was a little warmer yesterday and today.
Yep.
But
rained a little bit today. I was hoping that would melt a lot of the rest of the snow.
Yes. But I do have
Still
some
there.
more pictures.
Okay.
I finally got around to processing the pictures that I took with my good camera. This first one is just, I call it ice in the sky.
Oh, I like that.
So this is, and we showed you some of this the last time, but just ice encasing everything, every branch, big, small, whatever. This was kind of fun because a lot of the time that we had all this ice, it was gray skies, but this was blue skies.
Yeah. When the blue skies and the sunshine came out, it was bedazzled.
It was. So this was gray skies, but I was able to get closer. This was closer to the ground. And just the ice coating everything, but also dripping off of everything and still being frozen. And then here's another one close, very similar. This I forget exactly where this is in the yard. It's got some kind of berries or something on it. Everything encased in ice. And here we have a house finch. These guys, we put seed out and mealworms and whatnot, and we had a lot of birds. They were grateful.
Yeah.
And so
I think
this
one of
was
them
fun.
even tapped on the window. They were like, tap, 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 like, more food, please.
Yeah. Can you get out here and fill this up?
Yeah.
Well, I won't spend a lot of time complaining about how I really want a better lens for animal photography and things that are a little further away. But
you'll save that for off screen.
That's right. But this wasn't too bad of a shot. Here's another one. There's another house finch. This guy has a seed in his mouth, and I think it's kind of artistic with you can see the ice on the branches, but there's fewer of them, more open, negative space.
Yeah. Well, I love this next one. You had to actually point out to me the house finch flying over the feeder. So adorable. With
the red-bellied woodpecker, those are always fun to explain. They've got a little patch of red on the back of their head, but the males have red on their belly, and this is, I'm sure, is a female. But the red-bellied woodpecker on the suet feeder. Here is again the feeder that my brother Michael made us.
Thank you, Michael.
It's fun to keep showing that off with the finches having a good time eating seed in the ice and snow. And here's these I actually took these out of the front window where we have a Japanese maple. This is a blood good Japanese maple. You probably never be able to know for sure what it was just from the photograph, but the way the ice was on it and it kind of started to melt, and then we had blue skies, so you kind of have the blue and the orangey tan, which are complementary colors. I just think it's a really cool.
It's very artistic.
I'm not sure I did it justice, but I think it was a cool thing to try to take a picture of, and I had like 30 or 40 of this same idea. These were the two that I liked the best.
Yeah.
And then just one more from Icepocalypse. I don't even know what tree I think this was kind of like on the edge of our property. It was just kind of a random tree that grew up. But again, back to cloudy day and ice covering everything. And it just is such a, it just almost makes you cold just looking at that picture, but it gives you a good sense of what it was like for a few days around here.
Yeah, it looks like it could be an enchanted forest.
Yeah. I mean, well, what's her name? Elsa or whatever from
I believe so.
Frozen? She probably lives there.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I did like the memes where she got arrested for causing the bad weather. That was fun.
Yeah, the person responsible for all this weather has been arrested, and then you see someone, a police officer cuffing someone in an Elsa outfit. Or maybe that was AI generated, but it was funny anyway.
What?
I mean,
okay.
Might as well transition over to our topic for the day. Well, this is episode 3 in the series on AI. We talked about we talked about the history of AI. No, is this episode 4 in the series?
I think it might be.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we talked about how are people using AI in good ways.
Right.
Last week, we talked about some of the fears that people have about AI and then how some of those fears are manifested in movies.
Right.
And if you haven't seen any of those, check them out. I think you'll find them really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're going to continue talking about some of the negative things that are associated with AI. And these are, well, one is happening now, and one is probably happening kind of, sort of, but could lead to something else that's not truly happening yet, at least not in the United States.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. I think our first topic is surveillance.
Yeah, and I would say, I don't know if you would agree, I feel like when anybody talks about technology and AI together, this is probably one of the main fears, right? Personal privacy, our rights are going to be taken away as far as like what surveillance is happening on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Do you think that's probably true?
That and just that it's going to take over and rule the world.
Right. Well, I actually put a question on the notes and just said, are people afraid of losing their privacy and freedom? Because I do think it kind of depends on what age bracket you're in.
It depends on the person. And
that's true. Yep.
Thus far in our 1 year and 2 episodes, we've tried mostly to stay away from partisan politics, but I do think that there are, that plays into it a little bit. There are some people who are just naturally skeptical of whatever the government does, and there are other people who are naturally kind of, it's going to be fine because, the government's not going to do anything to hurt us. That's their job.
More trustworthy.
Or it may fluctuate with who's in office or whatever. We're not going to really get into that. But I do think that whether people are afraid of their privacy being violated or their freedom being restricted can be somewhat political. And we'll leave that at that.
Well, and I was just thinking that the younger generations, they haven't had as much privacy as we've had. I mean, back in the day, I could get in my car, go to the store with no cell phone because they didn't exist.
Right.
Pay with cash out of my wallet.
Because how else would you pay?
How else would I pay?
Yeah.
Nobody knows where I am, what I'm doing, what I've purchased. Nobody knows anything about that whole event.
Well, you're not being tracked.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you said when I was younger, I'm thinking back to when I was a teenager, my parents wanted to know where I was all the time.
Well, no, that's true.
And, we watch a lot of police shows, so, whoever waited on you at the store could probably identify you if they had to.
I wore a disguise. Just kidding. But you know what I'm saying?
But you're not being tracked.
I wasn't being tracked.
Exactly.
Now, if you've got your phone with you, and I think I was also listening to somebody one day, and they said any device that you own that has the word smart in it, you can just take that word out and just put surveillance in there.
Pretty much.
I have my surveillance phone with me.
Yeah.
And so therefore the possibility that someone could find out where I was is right there.
Well, and we know people too that I'm not going to name names, but sometimes even when our family is getting together and someone's late,
sure,
and you can't get them to answer their phone, one of the family members will go, hang on, I'll see where they
Yeah.
are.
We're
Because
tracking you.
they've given each other permission to
Yeah.
have tracking on their phone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're halfway here. So
Yeah.
it'll probably be X number of minutes.
Yep. Well,
So that's probably relatively harmless, but
but it's out there.
it's out there.
It's a possibility. And
Yes.
also, any device that has a microphone that you use
Mm-hmm.
can listen to you.
Yeah.
Any device that has a camera that you use can also look at you. So,
And can probably be turned on without your permission or knowledge.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, people, I just think, need to be aware that that ability, really the ability to watch and to listen to a lot of the world, is already in place.
Yeah, it is.
It's very easy.
It is.
So now I would say younger generations haven't had as much privacy as previous generations.
Right.
So maybe they don't care as much. That's how it is.
It really does make a difference.
Yeah.
What you grew up with and what you're used to. And people say, well, we've lost a lot of our privacy and our security and our, yeah, privacy.
Yeah.
And they're just like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
sometimes they don't even realize that was ever a thing, or they'll participate in Find My Friend, but then they don't think of that as being an invasion of privacy in any way, shape,
Right.
or form.
Right.
And then there's always someone who says, well, what are you trying to hide? Why do you need so much privacy?
Right.
And so I think just to lay a basic foundation for the rest of today's conversation, the founding fathers of this country expected everyone to be able to have the right to privacy.
Mm-hmm.
And the overarching idea of that is the government doesn't have the right to bust in and see what you write in your personal journal.
Right.
Not because we're trying to do things that are illegal or immoral, or that we're trying to overthrow the government and the government shouldn't find out about it, but just this episode is not really about that per se at a deeper level, but we should be able to be private citizens going about our business, living our life, doing our thing. And as long as we're not breaking the law and as long as we're not hurting anyone, nobody needs to know what we're doing. It's none of their business.
Right. Privacy.
And that right to privacy is, I think, important. And, because we care about people and because we're Christians and we believe that the Bible is true and that the morality spelled out in the Bible is important. We hope you're not doing anything crazy with your freedom, but, we all make mistakes and whatever. But that's not the point of this episode either. But at some point, the invasion of privacy can become a real problem because it can lead to other things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where we're talking about AI and things related to that.
Right. Right. Well, and I was thinking again, too, we talked about how we were used to a level of privacy that changed with technology. But also, we've all been trained to, quote, accept the terms. Anytime you get a new device,
Sure.
anytime you're signing up for another website, anytime you want to do anything with technology, you have to, quote, accept the terms. Well, you have options. You don't have to, but guess what? It's a take it or leave it kind of
Yeah, the
term.
options are, do you want to use this app, or do you want to use this device,
Right.
or do you want to use this software,
Right.
or don't you?
Yeah.
You either accept the terms or you don't get to use it.
Yeah. And so I do feel like even as a society, we're all being conditioned to just accept the terms. And what are the terms? Probably that we're going to take a lot of data from everything you do on this website.
Right.
Because data is the new currency. Data
Yeah.
is super important. So,
And nobody reads it because we all have lives to live. And,
right. And we really want to use whatever technology it is. I just need it and I need to move on.
I mean, it's 30 minutes to an hour of your life that you never get back to read the stuff. And
Right.
if you're not a lawyer, you're probably not going to understand part of it anyway.
Right.
So it's kind of a catch-22. But yeah, you're right.
Well, so we were talking about surveillance, and I keep thinking about like our Costco card.
Yeah.
So again, used to be you could just walk willy nilly into any store with cash and just purchase products and off you go. And
And there's really
then,
no record of that. You have a
yeah.
receipt, but back in the day, the receipt didn't even have the name of the item on it. It
Oh,
just
yeah.
had the amount.
Yep. That was it.
That's it.
Just a dollar amount. Who knows what you bought?
There's really, not, I mean, it's changed so much
Yeah.
in your and my lifetime
Yeah.
that there was almost no way to track anything. What the store would track is they would track how much of certain things they sold,
Right.
but not to whom.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
how would you track
How
that?
would you track that?
Especially with cash.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, so our Costco card has our name on it, has our picture on it, and it has a barcode on it.
And by our, you mean yours has yours and mine has mine.
Yes. Yeah, it wasn't a group photo. Yay.
This is our group membership.
Yeah, I mean, it is a group membership, but we got individual photos because we're not weird. And so to get into Costco, you have to show that card and swipe it through to prove you are who you say you are.
Well, that's changed too recently, within the last couple of years. You used to be able to just show up and flash the card.
Right, right.
Sometimes I would just open my wallet and they could see the top of it sticking out of the little
Right.
card holder, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I see it."
Yeah.
They didn't see the whole thing. They certainly didn't see the back.
But now you've got to scan it, and
Yeah.
it has to have a little green light that shows up, and then you can get in.
which I think means your membership is current.
Yeah,
At that point, I'm not sure they're really comparing your face
probably
because
not.
there's always an employee standing there by the scanner.
But the other day,
But-
I tried to check out, and you set your card down, and then you ran off to just run a quick little side errand.
I
You
went
were
to the
coming-
restroom.
Okay,
It's fine.
I wasn't going to say that.
I'm 60. I go to the bathroom a lot. So we're shopping together, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna need to use the restroom before we leave. So can you handle the checkout?"
Yeah.
And I didn't. At that point, I didn't even think about the fact you have to put your card up with the stuff. You have
Yeah.
a card. I have a card. I had already put my card up there, and then I
Yeah.
was like, "Dang it! I better go use the bathroom. Can
Yeah.
you handle the rest of this?" And you were like, "Sure, I got it."
Yeah. So when it came time for me to check out, she looked at the card, saw the picture. It wasn't me, and she just very politely said, "Will David be joining us today?" And I said,
Right.
"Oh yes, he just ran to the restroom. He'll be right back."
So but they're trying to make sure that you're not just borrowing somebody's card,
Right. Right.
and getting the discounted Costco price without paying the membership fee.
Yeah. So all of this is great. All of this is voluntary.
Yeah.
But it's things like that that people are concerned about with technology, with AI, with the fact that and I believe in Europe, they're already starting this with more and more stores. Where actually just to get into a store, you have to like scan your ID, scan your phone. They want to know who's in their store. So it's
Yeah.
it's a little, to me, it's a little unnerving that they just want to know who are you, where are you, what are you doing, all the time, all the time.
And the next step in this is we're talking about Costco and the card and how they've kind of changed part of what they do. And part of that, I think, is just for security and making sure that everybody that uses their services is a paid member and is qualified to use their services, which is totally fair. But we know, and if you're watching this, you probably know too, every single thing we buy is in a database from Costco somewhere in some big server farm or something. And it's got, David McClung, Hillary McClung, and all the cases of water that we've ever bought that we use for landscaping and whatnot, and everything else, whatever we buy. I mean, they know they're tracking. They probably, when we signed up, we probably had to give them our birth date, and they know how old we are, and they're tracking.
Yep.
People of this age are more likely to buy these things, and if you're a little older, these things, and on and on and on. And to a certain extent, that feels like it's not a big deal. They're just trying to figure out what to keep stocked in the store and how to market to different kinds of people. But that's being tracked.
Yeah.
And then the other side of that, just to be Captain Obvious for a second, because I like doing that, we talked about when we were younger using cash and nothing's tracked. Well, you know that every single thing you do with your credit card is being tracked by somebody, somehow, some
Right.
way.
Right.
So, and if you watch police shows, they can access it too. Well, what did this person do? I mean, let's check their credit cards, because if we know who they are, we can find out everything about them. And maybe you need a subpoena for that. I don't really know, but somebody can track it, and they can say, "Oh, well, they went over here and picked up donuts, and then they went over here and filled up with gas, and then they went over here and did this or that, and
Probably went to Taco Bell.
their GPS on their car says they were at work for a while, and then we were able to hack into their phone, and we know that they were shopping on Amazon while they were supposed to be working. Not our problem, but they were. And I guess they're going to get some new lampshades. I don't know, but they know everything. Everything that you do is trackable,
Yeah.
and so that's where you have much less privacy,
Right.
than we used to. And again, not that David and Hillary are trying to get away with anything we shouldn't be doing, but it's just a little concerning that people know everything you're doing,
Right.
everywhere you're going, everything you're spending money on. It's just a little, because we didn't grow up with that, and the right to privacy was really drilled into us. It feels kind of weird.
Well, it does. And kind of moving on to the next section.
Yeah. So besides feeling weird, why is that a problem?
Yeah. Well, because some places around the world have started using all of that information to decide whether you are a good citizen or not. So, and I did some research on the social credit score, which is
Yep.
in China, and I learned a lot about it. And I think at best case scenario, if we just assume the very, very best, it was created to try to get rid of some fraud that was happening in the marketplace, kind
Okay.
of like our Google review. Like if this
Okay.
if this person sells good things and they do a good business, they get a better score. If they're found to be, you know, just doing illegal things, or maybe not really selling things like they say they are, as far as what's the word that I'm looking for? Like just trying to scam people,
Well,
basically.
if they're
Yeah.
fraudulent or
Exactly.
misleading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it says a social credit score was typically used in China to evaluate the trustworthiness of citizens and businesses. So
Okay.
again, best case scenario, this could be a great thing, right?
Well, but we already have Yelp and other things like you
Right.
said, Google review.
Right.
If you want to buy something on Amazon, people have already commented on that product and said whether they liked it or not. But just as a side note, you probably already know this. There's no product that's ever been made on the earth since the digital age that every single person likes. So there's that.
Right.
But you can see what the majority of people,
Yeah,
mostly
yeah.
it's good or not good. If it doesn't have enough stars, then you might consider whether or not you really want to purchase it.
Yeah.
But we already have that, but what you're talking about is the government having a score for each individual citizen.
Right. And so contrary to some misconceptions, there's no like single unified national score for every individual. It's based on existing legal records and a lot of like human reporting, which kind of sounds like a little
Yeah.
a little sketch, right? Like,
Tattletales.
yeah, I don't
Your
really
neighbor
like.
is a narc.
Yeah, rather than like advanced real time AI surveillance. That's not really happening yet. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen that way, but or if it is happening, it's not widespread. But yeah, so beginning in the late 1990s, it was created to address market fraud and also lack of financial credit history
Okay.
with like small businesses, rural citizens, people who maybe weren't as easily able to establish those things.
Okay.
So, but I do think that it's a little dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So you've also got on here some other, it does assign scores. And this is, whether this is happening exactly like this in China or not, I've not researched that part of it, but I've heard some people in America talking about being concerned about that happening here.
Yes.
And some of the things that a social credit score could include are getting scores or categories based on things like paying fines, buying certain goods and services. Like, for instance, if you're buying diapers, that's fine. Of course, in China, I don't know if it's still the case, but you're only allowed to have one child, I think. So,
I think they did update that.
okay.
Yeah.
All
I don't
right.
know the number, but I think they updated it.
Something bad, maybe if you are in a place where they don't want you to buy weapons and you bought a weapon or something like that, that's subjective. But whether or not you fulfill your contracts or whatever, but those scores then can lead to things like if you have a good social credit score, it's easier for you to get a loan, which we already kind of have that. It's with just the credit score.
Right. But those in America are only based on financial criteria,
Right.
not personal criteria. Like,
Right.
do we like the things that you purchased last week? Okay, we'll give you a home loan. Like,
Right.
we just want to know, can you pay your bills? That's what
Right.
we're interested in.
So I guess instead of talking quite as much about China, I would just like to talk for a minute about the fears that people, because this is our last couple episodes talking about fears that people have about AI and whether they're founded or not, whether they're something we should be concerned about or not. But there have definitely been people, again, it's hard to do this and not be at least a little political. There have been people in the political spectrum in the United States who have talked about a social credit score system and how that could be good, and other people are saying it could be bad. And so things like, well, did you get your vaccine for this certain thing? If you did, your score goes up. If you didn't, your score goes down. Did you post comments on social media that we don't like because of whatever? If whoever's in office likes what you said, your score goes up. If they don't like what you said, your score goes down. It could be very subjective, and it takes away, that flies in the face of free speech.
Yep.
It flies in if you're posting things online, you're deciding that you don't want those views to be private, which is fine. That's your choice.
Yeah.
But so it's not so much a privacy thing, but if you're on the record, I'm for this, I'm against that, then whoever controls the social credit score decides whether your score goes up or down. And here's the kick. If your score is low enough, then at some point it could get to the point where it would be difficult for you to buy a house, or difficult for you to rent a hotel room, or difficult for you to buy a car. Or how about difficult for you to even buy groceries? Would you show up at your local grocery store and there's a sign out front that says only scores of 600 and higher can get in? You scan your phone and all this would be set up to where they can tell exactly what your credit score is, your social credit score. If it's not high enough, you can't shop here. Because why? Well, it could be because of their specific beliefs. It could just be because the police are out looking for people with low social credit scores who are obviously the dirge of society and shouldn't be out doing anything. And, if you come in our store and we've let you in, then that looks bad on us. Or maybe they come in and arrest you and there's a big mess and whatever. So if that starts sounding a whole lot like a third world country and not the United States, that's the point. That's the fear of where a lot of people are saying, we do not need a social credit score. We should not have a social credit score. flies in the face of a lot of things that are in our Constitution, that we have the right to free speech, we have the right to believe what we want to believe, worship the way we want to worship, think the way we want to think, buy what we want to buy, don't buy what we want to buy, vote for whoever we want to vote for, not vote for whoever we don't want to vote for. And we're not supposed to be getting penalties for that on the basis of who we are as a person. Now, I like to joke sometimes, it's not really a joke, but I don't mean it in a super harsh way. Different areas of the country have different types of people running the local, city, the county, the state, the whatever. And you kind of get what you deserve because you get who you vote for, assuming that the elections are fair and done accurately. The majority of the people vote for a certain thing, and then that person runs the state or the city or whatever a certain way. And then sometimes people move and say, well, I don't even want to be here anymore because it's too fill in the blank for me. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like what's happening here. And we have the freedom to do that. So, but the government shouldn't be saying you can't buy a car because of how you voted. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem with a social credit score. And the reason we're talking about that, again, just to close the loop with AI, is because how in the world would you track any of that except with supercomputers?
There's so much information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would have to process so much stuff. Just even computers 5 or 10 years ago wouldn't be able to do it. But with AI, and if you've tried ChatGPT or AI mode on your search bar in your phone, you know that you could type in almost anything and get an answer that's, most of the time when I do it, is at least a reasonable facsimile of a good blended average of the information that's out there, whether it's true or not, whether it's good or not, whether it's the answer you wanted. But that AI is searching super duper fast, like millions of things, and going.
That was an official quantum sound effect. Could I hear it again? Sound of the future.
Going through all the files, really, really, really fast. And then boom, there you go. Well, here's what I found. If we go try to research something and we open up a file and it's got 50 pages in it, I mean, can you even digest that in an hour?
It's going to be a minute.
And
it's going to be a
AI's going through like 73 million file folders in 0.1 seconds and going, here's what I found. So
not a true statistic.
I mean, I'm just making up numbers, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
And so that's why a computer that can do that can track everything you do, everything you say, and then if it's programmed,
yes.
If the entire system, again, specifically talking about a theoretical social credit score system, is written to look for certain things and flag certain things and then make your score go down. And then you go and scan your phone to get in somewhere and they say, no, your credit score isn't high enough. You can't come in here.
Yeah.
You can't buy a car. You can't buy a house. You can't buy food. You can't shop for clothes here.
Yeah. Well, just to back up a few years, 30 years ago.
Okay.
You and I were around some people. Again, this was early 90s.
Yep.
And
early to mid.
Yeah. Debit card had just come out. So we had the ability to pay for things with cash. There were credit cards.
Yep.
But this was something new. A debit card.
Pretty new. It had been around, but it was not
mainstream.
Super common.
Right.
A lot of people didn't have them.
They actually, they really began in the mid 1960s, where they were mostly ATM use, but you could, if you had that card, if you could find an ATM, you could pull from your checking account. But most of the time, if you wanted to pull from your bank account, you had to write a check. So we would literally go to the store, write a little paper check, probably to Kmart because we weren't cool enough to have a Walmart, and that's how you paid. You paid with a paper check that pulled the money out of your bank. So when these debit cards first started coming out, people in the Christian communities were very upset. And I
Well,
remember
so I don't
the
remember it being a lot
people,
of people, but there were some
there
people.
were some people, and they were very concerned.
Yeah.
And they were afraid because, as believers, they believed that the the scriptures talk about a time where there'll be somebody in power on the planet who will require that you can only buy or sell with a specific mark. It's called the mark of the beast.
Right.
And so people in the church 30 years ago were concerned that this was a stepping stone to that system.
Yeah.
So I remember just kind of trying to process that and think about it. And I thought, well, it doesn't feel like that's what it is. I could see why you would maybe think it might be part of that.
Or a precursor to it.
Right.
A stepping stone.
We also, as this kind of a funny side note, we've been to places before where they have said, no cash. That's absolutely no cash. We tried to buy ice cream one time at a place in Nashville. Like, we don't take any cash. I'm like, what? Is that even legal? So I looked it up. It's actually illegal. Stores have the right to say that they don't accept coin or paper money, bills, coins or bills.
Crazy. The
Yeah.
times they are changing.
But there is currently federal legislation proposing a law to make it illegal to not accept cash, which I was surprised by. It's not a law yet, but it's in process. So we'll see. We'll see if it makes it. You and I were actually at an event one time.
Yeah, we like to go camping, and we've talked about buying a camper. We don't have a camper, but
Yeah.
we have friends who have also thrown around that idea, and they asked us if we wanted to go to an RV show
Right.
in Nashville, and this was a couple years ago. We went, and it was fun.
It was super fun.
But what we didn't know until we got there was
yeah, we we knew it would cost to get in, and we had our debit cards, which everybody accepts debit cards. We get to the outside and it's like cash only
yeah,
to enter. We're like, oh, we got to find some cash. We got to find an ATM. So we did right around the corner, found an ATM.
yeah, there was an ATM in that building, but you couldn't get from point A to point B
Oh, that's right.
to get to the ATM without going through the show. So had to go like up this flight of steps, up the next flight of steps, outside, back down some steps, around and around and
Yep.
around like a maze, and then back in and get to the ATM and get the cash,
Yeah.
and then go all the way back and back and back and back and back and back just to be able to get in so
Yeah.
that we could go to the show, which is like 3 steps from the ATM, but you can't get there from, it was ridiculous.
Well, so then we got into the show, and then, a little while later, we're like, you know what? We're a little hungry. Let's go get some snacks. And the show was run, like the building was run by another company, and they were credit only, no cash accepted.
We got
So-
enough cash to get into the show and be like, I
Yeah.
mean, what else?
We're
What else
all-
is going
we're
to
all
be cash
good.
today? We better get enough
Yeah.
cash.
No cash accepted. So, definitely you are controlled to some degree by what form of payment people will accept.
Yeah.
And so it is a big deal. It is a big deal if people are going to say, you can only purchase this one way, you need to have your ID, you need to have your social credit score. I understand why people get really worked up about this idea.
Yeah.
And I also do believe that the scriptures are true. I
That's right.
pulled the one from Revelation 13, and this is talking about someone the Bible describes as the Antichrist. And it says, Revelation 13:16, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. So, yes,
Crazy.
people get really, really upset when they think about their spending being controlled by a digital system with digital tracking,
Yeah.
with somebody in authority who would have the ability to say yes to you, no to you.
Right.
We don't know how that's all going to work.
There's only one way you can buy, and it's with our approved system.
Yeah.
If you take the Bible seriously and you've read anything about the end times, that gets a little bit scary.
I definitely believe we are working towards that infrastructure. I don't think we're there yet.
Right.
I think, yes, is our debit cards completely convenient? Yeah, they're super convenient.
Sure.
I don't know a lot about people using chips right now, if they're putting them, or I have heard of reports of implants and different things. It makes sense to me that the next thing people will do is say, I'm tired of carrying this card around. Super convenient. If it was just a chip in my arm, just wave it over the scanner, we're done.
Having heard the passage in Revelation ever since I was a kid, the first thing I think when I hear that is, heck no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
But I get people that don't have that background going, well, I mean, if it's not going to irritate me, if I don't really notice it or know that it's there and it just
Yeah.
makes my life easier, which is what it sounds like on the front side, I get why people would say, sure, let's do it.
Yes. Yeah. Right
But
now at Whole Foods, you can use Palm Pay, where you scan your palm, they connect it to your account, and that's how you pay. Palm Pay.
nope,
That's
that's a little too
super
close.
close to your right hand.
That's a little too
It
close for
is
me.
your right hand.
I don't know.
But is that the mark? I don't think you will ever accidentally take the mark of the beast. It will be an act of worship. It will not be an
It
act
will be an act of worship. Explain that.
like loyalty to that person. It will be an act of loyalty to that.
The mark of the beast, and they may not necessarily be called the beast, but there will be
Right.
someone who's a world leader who will say, here's the system and we're implementing
Yes.
it, and you need to take this mark in order to buy and sell, and
Yes.
and what's the alternative to that?
Probably death. Yeah.
Probably, or
Yeah.
like you see in some movies, run to the hills and try to start
Right.
a group that lives off the land and does their own thing their own way with their
Yeah.
own form of currency and hope that you can survive.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. And some people do that, right? They're already preparing to not have to be in that system.
well,
So
there are companies that are promoting and selling survival gear and survival food packs and all sorts of things. There's a whole
Yeah.
subculture that's really, really into that.
yeah.
And
Well,
yeah, we're not trying to.
we're actually going to
Fos-
sell those packs at the end of this episode. I'm just kidding.
No, we're not. We're not trying to foster fear, but
Exactly.
this is all related to how AI could turn into a thing that would be bad
Right.
for
Right.
a lot of people. And so
Yep.
beware of that.
As my last little piece of encouragement, though, I was thinking about how it has been 30 years since I heard those conversations about the debit card, how dangerous it would be, how this was leading up to something nefarious. And now here we are in 2026. And I don't know the timetable. The Lord has been very specific to say, we don't know the time.
Right.
We know the season. I think we're in the season. But seasons are funny.
Yeah.
They take a little while to get into. It's like, when does it really become spring? You're not quite sure. Sometimes it seems like it is, then it's not. So
That's on a small level, but
yeah,
it could be. It's like in The Chosen when they joke about how the word soon doesn't
Right.
have an easily understood definition. What does that mean?
yes. I absolutely believe the Lord's word is true. These things will happen, but we need to be prepared to know that they are coming. But what if that's not even in our lifetime?
Yeah.
And so
Maybe.
there was a phrase, I had to look it up. It's like, what movie is this from? It's from the movie The Incredible Journey, Homeward Bound. It's a golden retriever and a bulldog and a little Himalayan cat, and they
Okay.
take this incredible journey. But the golden retriever looks down at the young pup, and he says, "Pace yourself, pup. We've got a long way to go."
Yeah.
And I think about that sometimes because I think, what if I had gotten so wrapped up 30 years ago thinking, oh, this is terrible, this technology, it's bad. And I just went on a path where that's all I focused on for 30 years.
Yeah.
I would have missed a lot of life that I was supposed to be living
Right.
in those 30 years. So again, I want us to be aware and to be reading the word and to be aware of what the Lord says. But I don't think we're supposed to have a spirit of fear.
Right.
And I think we should pace ourselves to say, if the Lord is still a little ways off, we need to have common sense and wisdom, and we still have kingdom work to do
Yeah.
every day.
Right.
And I think we're going to be watching this infrastructure be built. We're probably going to be a part of it
Yeah.
until the day that we're not,
Yeah.
until the day that he takes us home. But we don't know that day. So
Well,
I guess we
it's
need
not
to,
for anyone to know.
yeah, we need to be aware, to be wise, but to also realize we have to make choices to be in the world, but not of the world. And to ask the Lord for the wisdom. It says in Proverbs 9:10, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. So we just pray. Ask the Lord to give us wisdom. How do we live with this technology? How do we interact but still honor him?
Yeah.
And just pray for him to guard and protect us.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Well, this has been interesting, and we try to have fun with these episodes, even though we're talking about some things that could be really negative. So we thank you for joining us on this episode. We've got, I think, one more
yes.
on AI, and we've got another topic to discuss that I think you'll find really interesting, and we'll just save that for next time. Please join us in our next episode 55, the double nickel episode.
2-3.
Yeah, year 2-3. All right. But thank you for joining us today. We really do appreciate you. The show's really not much of a show if you're not watching. So thank you. Please like, subscribe, and share it with someone that you think would also enjoy it. We look forward to seeing you next time.
See ya.